Hey, welcome to the channel. We're going to go ahead and do something a little different today. I'm going to go ahead and show the house build that myself and my family went ahead and accomplished here in 2020. It's really actually how we got into doing falling timber and land management and all of the associated tasks with it, sawmilling, was because we had this dream of building our home. So, if this interests you, if you're considering getting out of the city, if you are wanting more of a simple life, this is how we've done it ourselves as a family. Now, we did a majority of the work ourselves. We bought the land and we went ahead and cleared it, cut trees, and when we cut the trees, we did not want to just burn them up. We wanted to sawmill them. So later on, we did also purchase a sawmill. Now, the whole family was involved here. My kids, my wife, and myself. We did have a little bit of help here and there from family and friends, but for the most part, it was the four of us. And had we done any of this before? The answer is absolutely not. So, what we're looking at now is we're looking at the beginnings of the foundation. Concrete is one thing that I did hire out. I would have liked to have done it. However, it was something that we really just need to get started and get done. And I wanted it to be done right. As far as being done right, I believe that we could have done it ourselves, but the complexity of this build where we chose to build our home was going to be difficult. We were going to have fairly tall walls. And I didn't want to figure out whether or not I could do it. And again, time was a constraint. We really wanted to get this started because this was 2020. Prices were changing, things were going on, and we were trying to get through the process as affordably but as quickly as possible. So anyway, the company we used went ahead and used these aluminum forms. It's really nice because our walls are very, very exposed. We didn't backfill up against them very much in most spots. And so it's very, very nice that we got a good finish out of that aluminum form. We spent hours here. We were there every possible day, on the weekends, after work for myself. And yeah, we just had a lot of time into it. There's the rental machine that I went ahead and backfilled the foundation with. We wanted to build on a slab. So I dug all the material from the actual driveway. We needed to kind of change and contour that. It's estimated to be about 35 loads of material. So I went ahead and filled all with that small Kubota backhoe. Now, it got wet, it got cold, and it took me about a week of after work, and I did take a few days off of work to accomplish this. It was really, really nice when we got done. After the digging here, it was going to get time for laying in the plumbing. But you can see here, my kids, every time we made progress, we always went out there and stood and couldn't believe what we were seeing, because we started with a forest. Okay, here I am going ahead and digging trenches for the plumbing. This is where we got a good family friend to help us out. It's my dad's friend, and he helped kind of lay out the plumbing, and kind of just was another set of eyes and expertise to help us out. My boys helped with putting screenings back in the ditches to support the pipes. There's my dad and his friend. I'm inside the skid steer. And here's another family friend that would come and check on the progress quite often, and we really enjoyed seeing him there. This was a family effort. My wife was just taking pictures here, but she was fully a part of this as well. We did all this like I said, having never done a project to this scale before. We had done like a bathroom remodel, something like that, but we had never built a house. I did have some construction experience, but not to this scale. My experience was mostly cabinetry, a little bit of excavation, and trim work. But YouTube is your friend in something like this. These finishers, this concrete guys, man, they worked hard. It was cold, it was just above freezing, and it took a long time for that concrete to cure. I stayed out with them, brought them lights to keep them going, because we were going to go ahead and finish this concrete floor. We just wanted to seal it. So trusses were delivered, lumber was delivered. Again, 2020 was unbelievable because pricing was very difficult to anticipate. You really couldn't anticipate much. Now, we built this as a clear span structure, so the trusses sit on the four walls. It's 28 by 50, brings it to about a little over 1,400 square foot. I paid to have a crew stand the walls, the exterior walls, set the trusses, and put the sheathing on the outside of the home. 2x6 construction here. They did this it was a cold day. We kept a fire going. They had to have their nail guns set by the fire periodically because they were icing up. Guys just worked. They got the framing done for the exterior walls, roof, and sheathing. That was done in really a weekend. It was a big jump for us. If our property had been flat, we would have done more of this work ourselves. But I went ahead and made the call to have this part done because it was going to be very quick to have them do it. And it really didn't cost us all that much money. Coming up next here, you'll see the stack of windows. We chose a company out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, Thermal Windows. They're more of an industrial grade aluminum type window, black in color. That's what we were looking for. Here's a picture of myself putting the underlayment for the roof. We were going complete metal on this home, but we built it kind of more like a traditional home. Doing the windows really wasn't all that bad, with the exception of when the work got way higher off of the ground. My wife and I worked through it, and we did it together, something that we, again, had never done. Now, the next picture coming, this is the far end of the house. That is way up off that ground, and that proved to be very difficult to do, but we got it done. Sliding glass door, install, not too bad. Now, another thing I did hire was I had someone put the tin on the building. We did most of the interior work, but again, this was one of those things, these guys got this done so quickly. We needed to get this thing dried in because it was getting wet inside the house. We were making progress quickly. While those guys were doing that, we went ahead and started framing the interior walls. Because this was clear span, there was no engineering involved. It didn't need to be. We had standard trusses for the back of the house and then scissor trusses in the great room area for a vaulted ceiling. Simple design, but the house turned out well, and it was not bad to do. My boys were very much a part of the whole process. They learned a lot. They had never seen all of this. We worked through snow. It was cold. We had no electricity. We didn't put electricity in for a very long time. We were here constantly. And we got the house built really pretty rapidly. So that's a picture of most of the framing done. I'm wrapping some stuff up, getting it ready more for drywall. And that went well. It was a learning curve. And my wife, she was cutting pieces. I was calling out measurements, and she would measure with the tape and used the miter saw and cut them. She did a great job. All right, green thing right there was actually our porta potty because we did not have anything set up out there. So the house is looking a little bit more complete on that outside. We really were happy with how the black came out. And let me know what you think. It's a pretty cool design. We had plans to do a deck. You'll see some more pictures about that later. But this is where we got started here. For a long time, we just had a board going up into the house, and that's how we got in and out. Now, I'm starting to work on electrical here, nailing up boxes, putting up recessed lighting cans, mounting the breaker panel, pulling wire, and all of that. We put recessed lighting across the entire home. We used standard cans that you could screw in traditional bulbs to, but then I used the trim plates that are LED. So I have lots of options. They're not all in one units. That's what we chose to do. 20 amp circuits per room in this house, 4 outlets or receptacles. The ceilings have 15 amp 14 gauge wire run to them for the lighting and the ceiling fans. Beautiful views. We just enjoyed working out here, listening to the wind blow through the pine trees. I do have a little bit of an electrical knowledge. I worked in low voltage for a very long time. I pulled wire as a teenager with an electrician, so I kind of learned some basic concepts. Otherwise, simply reading and watching videos on YouTube, it makes a lot of sense. I designed the entire electric system in the house, did the plumbing. I bought a lot of tools to do all this. All of my PEX was 3/4, except for till the last point where we went 1/2 inch to connect to the valves. Any PEX in the concrete was fed through 1¼ inch poly so we could pull it out and replace it if need be. There's a little note from my wife inside the walls. All sorts of things are written inside of that house. My wife going ahead and putting up the baffles for the insulation that would be blown into the attic later. Lots of electrical wire here, everyone. I filled up that panel. We used traditional methods of construction because that was the easiest thing for us to do ourselves. Also, it's proven, it works. We wanted a safe, clean home, energy efficient to an extent. We've got 2x6 walls, so we've got R19 fiberglass insulation in there. Did the bathroom, got all that stuff roughed in. I wish my toilet would have ended up a little bit further from the tub. It's within acceptable range of codes, but again, I could have moved it. Now, we put blue tarp down on the ground because we wanted to finish this concrete floor and wanted less cleanup. So we put that blue tarp down, really inexpensive at a local discount place, and that way they could mud and tape and all that. Now, after a little bit of cleaning, it was a little bit of cleaning, but not too much, we cleaned up that floor and sealed it. There's my panel, very full. Digging in utility trenches here. This is for power, water, and my fiber internet connection. There's my wife. We did not bury that wire in the ground bare. It did go in conduit. So there's some finished interior. It's really looking good as far as the drywall goes. Used a skid steer. Quite a bit of work. Did a little bit of grading around here. Let me tell you, it was so nice to get hooked up to the electric grid. It was so great to have power the first time we did. Now, here's the boy. They helped me with switch plate covers and all of that. Checking out the new air conditioning system. I have 2 boys. They were probably about 7 and 8 years old, and they wanted to be a part of the whole process, let me tell you. Heat and air guy. And my kid being right there, watching him do his stuff. Appliances delivered. Remember, in this time you had to order stuff, and it took 3 months to get. And boy, oh boy, that was a lot to do. Did our cabinets. Butcher Block was the least expensive, nicest countertop we could afford, and something that we'd be happy with, so that's what we used. We went with a two-tone color scheme on these cabinets, and then ultimately the island has a different color yet again. Mounting our toilets up, and man, starting to tile. So here's a story. My air conditioning was brand new, freshly installed. I did have power at this point, and the time where we had to get that tile done, the AC broke, and it was absolutely humid and hot. We set our doors inside the house, tried a tankless hot water heater, ended up putting in a traditional water heater after. That was an electric one. My wife and I did the tile in the bathroom. I ended up cutting all the tile. She ended up doing setting all the tile. She did a great job. This is the first time she'd ever done it. And I've done it one other time before then. We just kept working. Getting the countertops were set. We used a polyacrylic type sealant on them. Mounted the sink. We were going to have to move in really shortly because our other house was being sold and closed on rapidly. So we were getting this move-in ready, or at least, to the point where we could live in there, no problem at all. There's some more base cabinets. These are a dark blue color. For a while, we had to wait for parts. We literally had to wait months for those cabinets. Some shelves I made out of sawmilled lumber that we milled ourselves. That's pantry. It's getting chimney work done right here. That's for the wood stove. We do heat with wood. And that was a project to me. That was scary, cutting holes through the ceiling, through the roof. Boy, oh boy, I'd never done anything like that before. But we did it. And I went up there, we'd burn fires, and I would go up there and check and make sure everything was good. Up there with a temperature gun, making sure things weren't getting hot. We didn't have insulation for darn near a year in that attic. And so it helped out being able to do that sort of stuff. There's my cabinet, my island. We do have electricity in it, as you can see. Really happy with how that came out. We can put stools comfortably along that back edge there. Gives us extra seating options. That was the only entrance to our home for quite a while. Coming up shortly here will be some deck pictures. We just temporarily threw some stairs up just so we could live, because we were building it as we went. More shelving that we put in to one of the rooms. We homeschooled the kids at the time. And here we are setting up the ledger board for the deck. Look at that load of logs, all that sawmilled material. We built the deck primarily out of sawmilled pine from the property. That's 6x6 pine. Put 12-inch sonotubes in the ground. Burned and treated the deck structure. Used treated lumber on the edge of the house there. We do have that flashed. Man, it was just coming together. Now, we're still not done. That's going to be part of this YouTube channel. The process of finishing this home. It's a labor of love. It is a lot of time, a lot of effort. Still haven't gotten all the deck done yet, but we're getting there. Getting the deck to this point is absolutely critical. It's going to help us go ahead and finish things like the soffits, and we do have soffit lighting outside as well. So, my wife and boys and I laying the deck. This is again sawmilled lumber from the property. We used Ready Seal product on this. Very, very easy process. We wanted to have a natural look if at all possible. There's our Shishougi Bond or Yakasugi pine. And this is about where we are at this point on the outside of the home. We have some more things to do. You can see that wire hanging down up there. There will be soffit lighting all the way around the home. It is absolutely beautiful to sit up there on that deck overlooking the valley. We just really enjoy it. Remember, we had no formal training or experience doing any of this work. Okay? Um, if you like this video, please consider subscribing, commenting, liking, and letting us know what your thoughts are. If you want to know more about a specific process, let me know in the comments. I can go ahead and try to make some content about it. Most of my videos are about outdoors, property management, and chainsaws. There will be more sawmilling videos coming, but this channel is going to be about a lot of different things. It won't be just about chainsaws. It won't be just about lumber. There's going to be some building. There will be projects. There will be woodworking and all of that. So please let me know what you think, what you'd like to see. I would appreciate the support. The channel is growing fairly rapidly, and I appreciate everyone that's already here. I appreciate all the support, everybody. So again, this is Okie Woodsman. Come and join along our family as we keep making rural life happen. Have a good one.